How is shame blocking you from your Dharma and wealth? And just in case, for those of you who are new here, Dharma is another way of saying your purpose. I'm defining that in the most basic terms. There are a lot of deep layers of what Dharma actually means, but for today's conversation, I am so excited to bring this conversation to light because, we can talk about all of these different ways for us to find our purpose and, follow what lights our soul on fire or, do all of these money mindset tools and like how to embody prosperity. But we're all so excited to get to that next step. We're also excited to be successful in these specific areas of our life. But what we're forgetting is that we have spent the last decades of our lives experiencing stories from other people, traumas, and ultimately suppressing these areas in which we're completely unconscious about. And in order for us to fully get to where we need to be, we got to address some of these things. We really got to clean up that foundational aspect of ourselves. So I am so excited to welcome Amaya here with myself and Ayana today. And so, Amaya, I would love for you to share with us, why is this topic so important for not only for you to share, but for others to also embody these, the way in which we can ultimately, I don't even want to use the word overcome shame, but really face that shame and
Mhm.
move into the next part of our highest selves.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for the introduction. And why is this work so important? Well, this is really the work that changes your internal vibration so that you become the rising tide that raises all ships. And that begins with a sense of contribution, a sense of importance, a sense of feeling that your life matters. And how do you create that feeling? Right? It's through sharing that unique magic and medicine that only your soul has handwritten on it, that nobody else can duplicate, that is one in many billions and will never be on earth in the same way again. And how does this relate and tie into the topic of shame? Well, the truth is, most people who say they want to know what their Dharma is actually already know. Like when you say, I don't know, I always ask the question, well, if you did know, what would it be? And what is this? What is this incongruency between saying you don't know and actually you do know, but you're not acting on it? Right? You're not sharing that gift with the world. And it all comes back to shame, right? There is a part of you that has been conditioned, traumatized, and whatever. We've all had those experiences. They're not even special anymore. And I say that with love because that's not the excuse to not do something, right? There's a reason you're not sharing. If you want to do something and it is not currently manifest in your reality, you are blocking it. And shame is the biggest block there is. And this is often shame around things that haven't even happened. Like people will make up scenarios around, well, I can't do this because then Aunt Susie's going to read my Facebook post about how I like to, chant kirtan, and she's going to think I'm crazy and weird, and she's going to reject my whole family, and I'm going to be ostracized. These conversations are actually happening in the background. And I'm pointing to this area of my head for a reason, because this is where self-doubt, anxiety, and shame actually show up. And it's a physical location. So long story short, we are here to do the work of uncovering that incongruence, letting go of that shame, not so that you can move without it at first. It's so that you can take action, even though you are having that experience, even though you are scared, even though you are feeling like, oh, don't look at me, but really you're like, look at me. And what is that? So that's what this work is all about, creating that awareness so that you can be free, because that which imprisons you is pointing to your freedom.
I loved every single second, every single word. I was here like, I'm so happy I'm on mute because I'm making all kinds of sounds. But really, it's so true that the shame that is there, the thing that we're trying to repress so far, the one thing we don't want to deal with when we're practicing all of these manifestations and saying our affirmations during our meditations, we're like, if I just affirm enough, I do not have to deal with all of that chatter in the background. I can just bypass it, right? And so I love that we're really taking this conversation to go back to the foundation and really tap into, let's clear up what is really initially there. And then we can build with all of those affirmations and magic on top of it, because you can't build a house without a proper foundation. So let's build that foundation so that the house can stay beautiful and sustainable, right? Like we want to keep it consistent. And so I would love to hear from you, Amaya. What are some ways that people can really move through this shame?
Yeah. One of the best ways to move through shame is showing up in a group like we are going to do together on Clubhouse and sharing that thing that you are ashamed of. Putting that part of yourself that you are terrified of people seeing and allowing it to be witnessed in a safe way with people who are going to love you no matter what you've done. Because guess what? Everybody is messed up. Like, I don't care who you are. Everybody's messed up. Everybody's done things that like they feel like, I would die if someone knew. So the trick is, put yourself in that situation. Would you actually die? And then you don't die. And then you're like, oh, well, okay, keep going. Right. So it's that practice of naming that shame, name it to tame it, so that you no longer blame it for the power it's been holding on your life, right?
I appreciate you so much for sharing that one of the best ways to overcome this and to face it is to share it. And why I feel that's one of the most healing aspects is because once you share it in community, you will find that you are not alone. And I guarantee you that everyone else in that room has once upon a time experienced that before or is currently experiencing it now. And so it is so much more fun to do it with somebody, no matter how difficult the work is. And so with that, Ayana, I'd love to hear, where can people join this week?
I am already so excited for this conversation. It was just getting juicy, and I really look forward to diving deeper. So you can join us on Clubhouse this Friday at 8 a.m. PST, 5 p.m. CET, that's Central European Time, and join us for this conversation. Show up open and ready to experience, but also to share. Let's really do this in community. Let's move through these shames and release the shackles that we've put upon ourselves so that we can really manifest our most magnificent abundance, our Dharma and purpose. I'm so excited to see you all on Friday.